Welcome back to Supplementary Elections. This is our concluding moment for this, at least the next few minutes. Mr. Olole Azeuzi, let me get back to you on this breaking information coming through from Benue, where suspected thugs burned 13,000 that's materials for 13,000 voters for Ukum local government area. What may likely happen now? How do you think this will affect the elections in Benue?
Well, it's very disturbing. That's the second incident that's heard of in Benue. I think in Jatuaka, one of the areas as well, there was that, but it wasn't as bad as this. Well, it's very, very unfortunate, and don't forget that we got here because of inconclusive elections, and violence is one of the major causes of inconclusiveness in our electoral process. It's obvious that some people are determined to ensure that people don't vote in those particular areas. But at the end of the day, we'll tabulate and see where we are at with this thing. I would want to think that it will not have a significant impact in the overall votes cast at the elections. You know, it's very, very disturbing, and we've had pockets of this elsewhere, but most of them are in smaller quantities, smaller units. Kediru, for example, Enugu has been fantastic, totally peaceful, but in one particular unit, almost exactly the same thing happened, where election materials were burnt in a community in one unit. This is worrisome. It may, like that Benue, will certainly affect any state constituency. It's likely to affect any state constituency election, but we're hoping that overall for the governorship it will not be affected. But we will work closely with security people to ensure that these things must be checked. We cannot continue as a nation keep doing this. It doesn't happen in most of the countries or the climes in other civilized countries where people go and destroy materials meant for all this. It's very worrisome indeed.
Oh yeah, GT. Clearly, this is really frustrating. Something needs to give.
Yes. I agree with him, with Mr. Oze, on his conclusions. It's very worrisome, and it's not only the electoral will of people in that community or in that local government that has been thwarted for now, particularly if we consider the fact that, just as Mr. Oze has said, if it's not going to have effect on the overall outcome of the election, that means in this election cycle, they're not going to participate in the process. And indeed, we will not be able to know how those people will cast their vote, what their preferences will be in this election. So that's very unfortunate. It's not only that that's implicated. We also have the issue of even cost. The cost of those materials. These are wastages that are avoidable. And I would have imagined, I know that INEC is trying its level best, and the explanation has been made, indeed very well made, that INEC is in control of the security agencies, and there are incidents or factors that can lead to the delay in deploying security agents to accompany the movement of election materials. That has been said, but we would still have expected that large number of electoral materials should have been accompanied by a huge security presence. It's very sad looking at the smoldering materials that will continue to record these incidents.
Well, that unfortunately, on that unfortunate note, you know, we need to just wrap this up. GT Ogunye, Channel Service Election Consultant, and Olole Osaze, who's the Director of Voter Education for INEC. Gentlemen, thank you both for coming on this session. So, Supplementary Election Studios will continue in a moment. Stay with us.
2019 elections are not quite over. Second ballot in at least 5 states of the Federation. The voters are anxious, history waiting to be made, and Channels Television got you covered with every detail of information you need to know. Our reporters comb all the locations. We are live in all the states. Watch Channels Television's 2019 supplementary election robust coverage, analysis, reportage of the voting, counting, collation, announcement, and the reactions. Hashtag 2019 elections.
Welcome back to Supplementary Elections. Now we are joined by Professor Lai Olurode, who is a former INEC National Commissioner. Good to see you again, Prof. Thank you for coming on.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yes, but unfortunately we're starting on this note where
note.
Yeah, you know, this is what we thought will never happen at this period. Lots of people have come out to come and vote, and they thought that they were going to get, you know, a closure to this process, but we're not sure if or how it will affect scenario, because materials meant for 13,000 voters in Ukum local government area in Benue State at the moment have been set on fire by suspected thugs. Now, this speaks to the election management system. We don't know how this will affect that particular result in Benue State at the moment, but then it points us back to what do we do? We need to keep thinking about how to improve our election management system in this country. But this one, questions will be asked of security agencies, rightly so, or what?
Well, it's very unfortunate. I was just watching the channels before I was driving here. I think election security has been a recurrent decimal in electoral regimes in this country. And it seems to have been so excruciating and intimidating that sometimes you have it picks up, then you have the troughs, it comes down. And I think in this one, there seems to be a measure of desperation. And when you look at the factors in some of the research work that have been done that are contributing to, because election definitely in most of Africa, especially in Nigeria, is a conundrum. It's with a lot of difficulties, with a lot of challenges that the security agencies can become overwhelmed. But I'm surprised that if elections are being held in just 5 states, and we have close to 400,000 policemen and women, I don't think they should be overwhelmed if there is appropriate deployment of security personnel. Because it's possible that there is either under deployment, because they will have done some assessment of the security architecture in Benue. Benue, of course, you know, is very vulnerable in terms of security. It's been one state that have been under perennial attacks, you know, in terms of internal security. But I don't think our security should be overwhelmed, given their level of training, their level of sophistication, and the expenses that the government had. So again, maybe it is calling for the urgency to really restructure policing in this country. Because if elections were to be holding in more states in the country, there would be a complete breakdown of law and order. In the last, so far, up to date, as of yesterday, 1,119 electoral offenders have been arrested, just in one set of elections. So it's so akin to war that it's like you are prosecuting a war project. And how do you then get how do you audit? How do you do any political auditing? How do you get the correct preference aggregation as to what people's preferences are between the political parties? Because many people have been scared away. So I want to believe that there might be some elements, maybe probably within the security apparatus or within the state, because the power of incumbency, it seems to be also an issue in election security. How I wish there could be a way whereby governors that are standing for elections, ministers that are standing for elections, that they take their leave from government before the election, because these are factors that are fueling up the security architecture as we approach elections. This is unbelievable.
Have you ever, when you were INEC commissioner, did such a thing ever occur, and how did you handle it?
I'm not sure up to this extent. This seems to be very embarrassing to the country. I'm not sure we had any supplementary election before the exit of Jega in 2015. I'm not sure we had anyone. Okay. The one we had in, was it, yes, 2015, was just Imo State. And you know the situation in Imo. So, and quickly we went back and Jega said we should, and we were able to complete the election.
Now, you also mentioned the possibility of some kind of sabotage?
That's what otherwise I couldn't understand. Look, election planning, the resources that go into the project, it's a whole project. It's a lot of resources, it's a lot of money. And they're going to go to waste, burning of election materials. And who would have thought the way INEC is as at today, the human agency component in the electoral process is very minimal. You now have a situation where you do biometric voters register, you have the card reader, you have to swipe your permanent voters card. So the human agency in it is very, very narrow, very limited. So there's no need to suspect any, other than these people, some people are desperate, they don't want to subject themselves to any political auditing. So and they believe, perhaps, that area might be the stronghold of a particular political party. And in order to undercut, to undermine the electoral advantage that the voters will give to this party or candidate, they just thought that's the way even if you go by electronic voting, it's not likely to kill this mayor, because it's about mindset of a people that are not ready to subject them. Because if you don't allow people's preferences to hold, to count, there's no way you can't be talking of development. It's not possible.
Does that suggest that there's so much attraction at the center, such that no matter the moderation, alterations, improvements you make to the system, they are always willing to go and circumvent it and get there?
Yeah, but I also, people have said that if people go scot-free, they commit an offense with impunity, the rich politicians commit all kind of sundry offenses with their money. They bribe their way through, they monetize the process, they compromise almost every key stakeholder except those who are not willing to be compromised. So the poor people also, they are being sponsored. Nobody can go into getting involved in electoral violence unless you have somebody must be somewhere who will encourage you, will give you the money, a lot of money for you to be wide. Because you can't be normal human beings that go into that. And somebody, you see, as long as we just apprehend the street boys, the urchins, we're not getting to until we get to the bottom to apprehend the real criminals. Look, if everybody had gone into this election with the way the president took the election, vote for candidate of your choice. That's the only way you can develop. There's no other alternative to it. If you obtain people's consent by force, that's falsification of truth. Because elections just try to gauge the people's mindset as to their preferred policy, the parties that they will prefer. When you disrupt the whole thing, What are you going to do? You're not going to cook up figures.
Well, we'll find out.
Or is there going to be a third supplementary election?
That's the problem.
Another one.
Another one.
Big headache. Will there be or not? Well, we'll find out when we'll come back in a moment. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. Well, Prof, why do you think that the president's message, when he says, vote for candidates of your choice, it doesn't seem to be percolating to some of these politicians?
I'm not sure they're interested. They just don't want to subject themselves to any form of political auditing because they know quite a number of them, they are no longer popular with the people. And the only way they think they can access power is just to force themselves into power. I was talking with a very senior friend yesterday, or day before yesterday on Thursday, we had some conversations and exchanges. And we were just reflecting on some of the improvement in the electoral regime that commenced under Jega's leadership of the commission. And his conclusion is that now that there's a kind of roadblocks have been mounted on the way of these political rascals to rig, to do all kinds of things. They are now more desperate and resorting to violence. The desperation, because now you can't just write results.
Yeah.
It's no longer possible. You can't be somewhere while voting is going on and be announcing results. Nigerians are now more vigilant. Everybody is enlightened now. So the ultimate, from the way things are, I hope the judiciary will still be able to retain some of its, whatever is left of it. We just have to get the judicial organ right.
What about encouraging good men to get into politics?
It's scary. Is it going to be easy? Do you want to go into politics?
I mean, we have some of us actually rooting for him.
Your family,
no, there are a lot
your
of
family
good
will
people
want you.
out
So you see, I've isolated in some of the work that we have done. One is that, you see, you have to look into the power of incumbency. Should incumbents, when they are contesting for elections, should they be allowed to remain in power, or there should be somebody put in place for them if they are contesting, or you just make it a one-time kind of affair for all? Prof. It is going to be whatever number of years they are going to be there.
Prof.
Because the resources we throw, the human waste, everything, you know, people die. Look at how many corps members have died. Look at how many security personnel have died. To the extent that military, we're not fighting a war. It's not we are not prosecuting a war project. So I think it's very frustrating for anybody, any reasonable person to want to go, and that is what they plan to do, scare away good people so that all these guys will just be there.
One of the things that's giving us concern, because with what happened, you know, in Benue, one of the things that could happen, which we have also asked Mr. Osazeuze, is that on the one hand, some votes might also be cancelled. On the other hand, the margin of lead principle might still come to play and all of that, and we'll still have another inconclusive election. What do you think of that process?
Well,
inconclusive elections over and over
again? Ordinarily, we're running the first to pass the poll kind of thing. The first, you lead by one, you are declared a winner. But INEC, in its wisdom, now I think we met that policy on ground when we came in as a commission in 2010. That is to say that where the margin of winning between the potential winner and the runner-up is less than the cancelled vote, then what it means is that you have to go and do. It's not as if you cannot make a declaration or make a return by just whatever. But I would suggest, there has been, since Falike's case, I think there's a Supreme Court decision that says that supplementary elections or INEC policy has been affirmed. Maybe we have to be thinking of the need, the imperative of reviewing that policy as well as the electoral, the constitution in terms of defining when somebody can emerge as. But I hope this is not the general scenario from your correspondent, that is just an isolated case in just one unit or so in Benue State. If it is not a generalized thing, maybe we should wait until we have a full report.
That's actually what Mr. Osazeuze said, that you know, computations will determine whether or not.
But it's very, very disturbing.
But worrying. This suggestion that you made about maybe we should have a single term of, who knows, is it 5 or 6 years for all of them to stop all this brigandage?
Well, if you are not the one going in there,
again, yeah,
maybe it's your surrogate or whatever you want to do.
They might say do the same thing.
No, but you are likely to be curbed. You are like your level of desperation. If we coupled with the fact, I'm sure the presidency must be thinking of the necessity now of electoral offenders commission. But again, I'm also worried about that. There's some of these, look at armed robbery, which people started shooting them. It has not come. It has not. We have not seen the end of it. So it may not also curb some of these people who are so desperate. I think by the time that the security agencies, especially that those that have the power to prosecute, by the time they are able to make a scapegoat of some of these big guys who are the major sponsors of this, well, it starts from not allowing people in your party to have a voice. You don't let them have a voice, and you want to muzzle them, you want to dampen their spirit throughout the process. That is what is happening.
What's the chance in a lifetime that what you just said now can happen, where we say we whittle down the powers of at a particular center?
No, you see, there are two possibilities. Either you allow the parties, let them do whatever they want to do, let them field candidates. I've had a statesman saying that, well, we should leave, that INEC should leave them to run parties the way they want to run parties. And if they fail in elections, they fail. There is no problem. Maybe that also can be a check. Let them, because there's no point. INEC is monitoring political parties. It's not making much success out of it. There's no internal party democracy. We are wasting our time by talking about it. The big guys in parties, the power bearers, they will always have the day. They want to feed their children. They want to feed their cousins. They are free to do that. Maybe we should stop looking at parties. Let them do whatever they want. Let them feed. Then we go back to President Buhari. Vote for candidate of your choice. If you are feeding somebody who's not popular within the locality, so everybody, a candidate, by the time, it's even possible that you have independent candidates as well. So that people can go in on their own. Merit. If they merit, when they win on merit. And we have seen that playing out now in some of the states. Candidates that will leave a party, go into another party, and they can determine what is going to happen to the big parties.
But at the same time, we also need to see how do we make all those offices a lot less attractive? Why are people killing to get into those offices?
That's difficult. That's the way to go. You are right. do it on a part-time, but who's going to bring the legislation? Who's going to
It's the same politicians.
It's the same National Assembly. So it's for them, it's a win-win situation, whatever. Even if you make it less attractive for elective office seekers, they will still find a way of augmenting.
And that's where the electorate come in.
Exactly.
The people who vote them in, you must
Yes,
vote them in on a certain condition.
That is why you need good elections. If you have good elections, if you have you allow elections to determine who's going to provide leadership, then you empower the electorate. I'm not sure in my life I've never seen a situation where people displayed tremendous enthusiasm throughout the electoral process. Look, in Benue, ordinarily, what happened during the last governorship election was enough for people not to want to come out at all. Look at when you shift the election day, and people still came out. Of course, it affected the voter turnout.
Yeah.
But I think people are, because they now know that their permanent voters card is power. It has more power being conferred on it in terms of deciding who their leader is going to be.
So we won't give up. That's where the real power is.
We
need to know that. They shouldn't make us think otherwise. Well, Prof, always a pleasure to have you on. Professor Lai Oloro, the former National Commissioner for INEC. Well, yeah, that's it for this session of supplementary elections. Don't forget, news track is on the hour. You'll also see post-stream. Thank you for watching. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
I am Akinde here saying, have a wonderful day.